Hey guys, my name is Kushal, and I'm doing the dinosaur Nigersaurus Taqueti, which is also a scientific name. Its common name is Nigersaurus, which means Niger lizard, and it lived about 115 to 105 million years ago during the early Cretaceous period. The epoch it existed within was the Aptian Age at the early Cretaceous epoch. It was found in the Sahara Desert in the Elros Formation in Niger, northwest Africa. And so the thing about these fossils is that they were very fragile, and this is due to its pneumatic structure where there's a lot of air sacs, and it's also due to its light framework. So most of the fossils were found disarticulated with no articulated remains known to be found, and the fossils found were the skull, neck, teeth, limb material, and the backbone. And so the initial discovery was with most of these fossils were found together and in an isolated area. And due to the delicacy of the bones, the, the fossils have only been found in Africa in Niger. And so Paul Sereno and his group found these fossils. And so if no fossils have been found anywhere else, the only assumed area that we know this dinosaur existed within was in Northwest Africa, which is designated by the star. So this is about where they were found and is assumed like about where they would be living during the early Cretaceous period. And so here you can see the light framework and the air sacs within the skull in these pictures, and this is a jaw of a lower juvenile, and this is a digitally reconstructed picture of the skull by Sereno and some other paleontologists. This is an artistic rendition of the dinosaur, and this is its skeleton. And so the Elros Formation before was made of sandstones with sand dunes, but back in the early Cretaceous, it was filled with floodplains, wide rivers, lush trees, vegetation, and conifer forests, and it was a riparian habitat. And so Nigersaurus itself existed within a place which was seasonally dry, and during the Cretaceous period, which was around 26 to 30 degrees. But since there was soft greens, the need for soft greens, and the riparian habitat, it was thought that some of these areas were filled with moist soil and were moist in general. The taxonomy of Nigersaurus taqueti is the smallest clade they existed within was a Ribochisaurid, which were small bodied and smaller bodied than the rest of the sauropods, and they also had small necks. They had teeth lining the front edge of their skull, and these teeth were typically facing straight down, as you can see in this picture here. They're also part of Diplodocodia, which have pencil-shaped teeth that were worn out and replaced quickly, and they had frontal snout. They had their frontal snout squared off as well. They were part of the Neosauropods, which were characterized by teeth at the front of the snout, and the nares dorsally placed, which the nares you can see here are the nostrils. You can see it in this picture too. They were quadrupeds, meaning they walked with 4 legs, and they had long tails and medium long necks. They were also part of the Eusauropods, who are characterized by being on 4 legs and their shortened snout as well. But they also had they were larger in size and proportionally even smaller, while their necks were proportionally longer. And so they were also part of the sauropods, the second largest clade. And they were characterized by quadrupediality, which is just, again, walking on 4 legs, shortened snouts, and being herbivores. Their hind limbs were longer than their forelimbs. And the last and biggest clade was the Sauropodomorpha, and these were characterized by leaf-shaped teeth, small skulls, long necks, and their large external nares. And so Nigersaurus was a herbivore who grazed on soft vegetation. They had about 600 teeth, and these teeth were replaced very frequently, about every 10 to 14 days. And so they were ground level herbivores, since, as you can see, they had smaller necks, and so they fed on low vegetation by gathering and slicing its food. So it's assumed that due to the structure of their skull, there are only simple up and down movements they could do, and so they couldn't really chew their food, and so they had to rely on like soft plants like ferns, horsetails, and angiosperms to feed on. So its diet was very niche, and they relied on the grit on the floor greens to actually digest and chew their food. So not much about their other habits are known, but since some of the fossils found in the Elros Formation, it suggests that the Nigersaurus didn't travel far, since only they were found in like the areas around Niger, the Elros Formation, the Sahara Desert, meaning that they didn't probably travel far, and they could have traveled in groups, since some of the fossils were found in very close proximity, but this isn't really, there's not enough evidence to confirm this. But yeah, this is my presentation on Nigersaurus taqueti.